guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, gonna go over an email that was sent from a subscriber, and this guy's email, guys, is a really good email. And this is in this guy's story. What he tells, this guy talks about how back in college he definitely dodged a major bullet by avoiding getting involved with a single you-know-who. And when I say single you-know-who, I don't mean Voldemort. I mean the other single thing, which is in a way equivalent to Voldemort, that you guys know what I'm talking about. And the reason I have to speak in code and say single you-know-who is because, I kid you not, the last time I did a video dealing with this subject about a month ago, guess what? The video got flagged, and I had to go make changes before I could republish it. So to avoid that bullshit, I have to speak in code here. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is, what I got to do to stay here on YouTube and, speak in code and all that. But anyhow, this guy shares this story about back in college. And, what's really cool is this guy, when in college, he was on his purpose. Okay, his purpose wasn't hooking up with girls and partying, all that. It was his studies, to do well for himself so he can make something himself in this world. And I think that's awesome. And because he found his purpose, his passion in life, his mission as he describes it, he wasn't susceptible for just any girl coming along, and he definitely had a good screening process. And when he saw this woman who he found attractive and liked, and found out that she was a single you-know-who or you-know-what, he was like, not a chance. And you'll see later on why it was a very, very good idea. Now, before I get started, let me just say this, because I got to say this, otherwise there'll be some drama in the comment section, because there always is if I don't say this. I have known many single MOMS in my life, and let me tell you, I've known some that were very cool, had their shit together, fun to be around, no problems, all that. However, I've known plenty, or known of plenty, and heard plenty of stories of plenty that were quite the opposite, that had all the negative stereotypes that guys don't want to deal with. Everything from outright looking for a guy to help provide for the kids and milk him for everything it's worth, to the types that literally cancel all the time at the last minute because something happens with the kids and all that. And while it's certainly understandable the kid has to come first, that is a headache for a guy that is busy and has a life and doesn't have a whole lot of free time and doesn't need last minute cancellations. To everything, to also about the kids being disrespectful, drama with the ex-husband or baby daddy, a whole laundry list of things. Those things are quite accurate. This is why I talk about these things, so that a lot of you guys don't get into a situation where you're taken advantage of. That's the purpose of stories like this, okay? That's why this guy is sharing this story here. So I want to make that clear before I get into it, avoid any drama. Because sometimes, most of the people who follow me here are cool guys, loyal, they watch all my videos, but I get new people all the day, and some people stumble upon a video. I don't need any bullshit here. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to jump into this. It starts off, guy says, "What's up, SSM? I've been following you for a while, and I thought I'd share how I dodged a major bullet a few years ago while in college. A little about me. I started going to college when I was 24 after working a number of jobs that I didn't like. I majored in electrical engineering with a 4.0, and I'm currently working my PhD." Dude, that's awesome. 4.0, electrical engineering, working on your PhD, awesome. Guys, this is what you should be going for. And in a moment, he's going to mention that this is his mission. That's what I want. Do you find something that just you love, and that becomes your sole purpose for getting up in the morning and dedicating your time and energy to that, not chasing ass, which a lot of young guys do. But notice here, I want to point something out. He said, I started going to college when I was 24 after working a number of jobs I didn't like. In other words, he wasn't ready when he was 18, 19, after high school, so he worked some jobs and realized, wait a second, I don't like working these jobs, getting bullshit pay, doing things I don't want to do, and that let him see the world as it is, and said, okay, I'm going to college, I'm going to be serious. I'm going to major in something that's going to actually have a demand for, pay me well, and all that, instead of majoring in some bullshit degree like psychology or other liberal arts degrees aren't going to pay anything. And isn't it funny how people major in those type of those majors, that there isn't a huge demand for their services, and these are the same types that then want to be have their college loans taken care of and wiped out by the government or taxpayers. Meanwhile, plenty of other people majored and went to school, majored in something that was useful, had loans, found a way to pay them back. They made some sacrifices, and they're not asking for a handout, but the types that major in bullshit, they want a handout. I had a little rant there because that always gets on my goddamn nerves. But anyhow, this is awesome. He started later on, and now he's focused. Okay, that's what I want you guys to be. Anyhow, He says, I found my mission in life, and I put all my focus on that. Even when I was an undergrad, I never had much use for parties, probably because I was older than most of the people that were there. And I spent most of my time working on schoolwork to maintain good grades. Awesome. Yes, you were older, but also just, you saw things differently because you were working at first and you didn't want to have to do that for the rest of your life. So you got a real education in the real world, working, and now you're in school. This is your opportunity to make something of yourself. So screw the parties, screw the hooking up and dating, put that on hold for a while, and focus what's going to make your life great. That's what I want you guys to do. He says, I made a lot of friends, but school was my primary focus. Right, that's your purpose. I never hooked up with that many girls. I'm very picky with women, and I hook up with, and even more picky when it comes to relationships. You should be, because guess what, man? You are a driven, high-value guy. You're going to be a PhD one day and have something that's going to bring in a lot of money. And guys that are high value, high status, have a lot going for them, they have every damn right to be picky with everything in terms of, like, especially when it comes to women, if they're into dating and relationships. You take your time. Guys that don't have a whole lot of value can't be picky, and so they'll take anything they can get. And unfortunately, a lot of guys have that attitude. This guy here, he takes his time. He's going to have a good screening process, and you're going to see in a moment why that was a very good idea. He says, people are always telling me that I shouldn't be so picky, but I've saved my ass on multiple occasions. Right. And by the way, the whole thing about people, or most people, yeah, people are telling you this, but how's that worked out for them? Most people in this world settle. Most people in this world aren't happy with the relationships they're in. They're not happy with the jobs they have. They're not happy with the income they make. They're not happy where they live. They're not happy how they look physically, and so on and so on. And yet they want to tell you how you should go live your life. No. Guys, you do what works for you. Don't listen to other people telling you how to live their lives when you can see flat out they're not happy with their lives. But as the saying goes, misery loves company. Just one little tip I want to point out here. He says, I did get into a relationship at the end of my second year. At the beginning of fall term of that same year, she left me for someone else, but it didn't bother me at all. I even wished her luck with her new man. I know that sounds beta, but I honestly didn't care that she left me for someone else. I always had plenty of other women interested in me. Dude, that's not beta at all. You were indifferent. You didn't care because you had your purpose. Your purpose was school, because getting those good grades and being the best you can be will then lead you to get your degrees. First your bachelor's, and then eventually work your way to your master's, and all the way up to get your PhD, to get the type of job, to make the kind of money, to have the kind of life and lifestyle that you want. That was your purpose. So it was like some chick, she broke up with you, you're like, so what? I'll get another one. That's not beta at all. That's alpha, dude. You're indifferent, and that's the attitude you got to have, right? And right there, you can replace her ass in a minute. You wished her well, see ya. It probably drove her nuts that you didn't chase after her, cry, and act like a lot of guys would. Now we're getting into the good stuff. He says, at the beginning of the fall term, I met this one girl who was better looking than the one I dated. She showed immediate interest in me and even brought me food during the classes that we had together. Well, a lot of women know that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I was somewhat interested as well, but remained cautious until I was sure there was a minimum of red flags. Very smart. Again, for a lot of guys, good-looking girl who's better looking than the previous girlfriend is giving you attention, bringing you food, they'd be in there like that. This guy's taking his time, as any high-value guy would. After a few weeks, I found out that she was a single you-know-what. I personally refuse to get involved with single you-know-what, because from what I've seen, the drama is always amplified beyond the norm. That seems to be the case a great deal of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Okay? He says, she still pursued me relentlessly, but I made it clear that I was not interested. Funny how that works. When you're not interested, and these type of women, whether they're single, MOMs, or anybody else, they're good looking and they're used to having getting all the attention. When a guy actually isn't that interested, he could really take or leave her. They chase after that guy more, because it completely just it damages their ego. That, like, wait a second, why doesn't this guy like me? Why isn't he drooling when I talk to him? Why isn't he chasing after me? That's why it's so important, guys, for especially you guys that do dating relationships, to not care, have an indifferent attitude. If she's interested, great. If she's not interested, you don't care either, because you got better things to do with your time and energy. And plus, you got plenty of options. She still pursued me relentlessly, blah, blah, blah. I made it clear I was not interested because she was a single MOM. Eventually, she found another man, and he says, to my relief, dated him for a month, got engaged, then married him 6 months later. See? She was looking for a provider. Mark my words. Let me just go back here. She found another man, dated him for 1 month, got engaged, then married 6 months later. Now, did that guy sound to you like a high-value guy? No. Opposite. Because this guy, because he said she was good looking, and she knew what she was doing. They started dating. They got engaged in 1 month. No guy of high value is going to do that. And you think she's going to treat him like a guy of high value? Women, nobody respects anything or appreciates anything that comes to them too easy. Notice when you're younger, when you actually had to work to get certain things, it took some time, you had to save the money, and you're excited to get whatever the hell it was, toys, a new bike, a car, whatever it was. You respect it more because you had to really work to get that. And it's the same thing in relationships. So a woman that gets a guy so easily, it's like, no big deal. But a guy she actually had to work to get, to commit to her, it took years to get him. It's different how she treats him. It's really true. Now listen to this. She even invited me to her wedding, but I didn't go. I wished her well, and that was it for as far as me and her went. After a while, her husband reached out to me one day and asked me if there was anything between me and his wife. Imagine that. She must obviously talk about this guy. Bet this guy's wishing he didn't marry her that quickly or marry her at all. He said, I told him that she did try to pursue me, but I wasn't interested. He didn't believe me at first, but after a while, he saw that I was telling the truth. He told me that marrying her, now wait for this, marrying her was the biggest mistake of his life, and that I was smart not to get with her. Imagine that. This guy rushed into it, engaged after 1 month, married in 6 months. This guy probably thought, yeah, I got this great girl. She's so hot. These women are finally paying attention to me, and look what happened. But this guy, my man here in this email, he took his time. His purpose was his main thing. He obviously has learned a lot of things, so he's no way Jose to the single MOMs. And he dodged a major bullet. Unfortunately, this guy, who didn't have this knowledge, who wasn't a guy on his purpose, who made obviously women his purpose, look what he has to endure. Remember that, guys. He says, we became friends pretty quickly, and we hang out regularly. He tells me about how his wife constantly rides his ass and expects him to provide for her daughter while she talks to other guys. What I tell you in the beginning, they want a guy to provide, to help provide for the kids because they're there with the kid. And by the way, this situation where she's actively seeking out a provider, what happened to the whole strong, independent thing? We don't need no man. Oh, sure you do when the bills come. He's going back to school to get his associates as a photovoltaic technician, whatever the hell that is, and I help with his homework. Even though I dodged a huge bullet, someone else obviously wasn't lucky enough. So there you go. Quick email, but I thought it was a good thing to point out about a guy and his purpose, and how when a man's on his purpose and finds his passion, his mission in life, all the other things don't matter. And this guy had this knowledge and this indifferent attitude, so knew to avoid the single MOMs. And when this guy, he then found out later on got with a guy, married him quickly, and now his life is obviously a living hell, and he's miserable. Biggest mistake of his life. That just proved exactly why the guy did what he did, and why so many guys spread the word out there that, look, if you're a single guy and you do want to do relationships, just go with a girl that doesn't have that baggage, okay? Because believe me, there's going to be somebody else who'll be more than happy to get that girl, thinking they got it made, or they're going to be the white knight to be that provider for her, and the child and all that, and these guys obviously mean well, but they just don't know. And look what happened here in this story. So again, good job to this guy. It's awesome when you're on your purpose, doing well, and I appreciate you sharing this story, because you didn't just dodge a bullet for yourself. You're also helping other guys out there by me sharing this story in this video today on August 1st, 2021. by helping them. They'll listen to this story and they may think twice about that. So that's awesome. And so I appreciate that. So guys, listen to this guy's story. This is what I do. I do all sorts of stories on here, guys. I do articles from all over the world, sharing what's going on here. I do crazy stories to show you some of the crazy crap that can go on from things I hear all over the internet, and also personal stories that you guys write in and tell me about and share your history, because this helps guys out and it's great. That's why I do what I do every day, sometimes twice a day here on YouTube. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.